friends, welcome once again to Lacrosse Link, your link to all things lacrosse. I'm your host, Steven Stamp. Very pleased that you're joining us, whether you're checking out on Lac Sports Network or on YouTube or on Facebook. All good, viable methods to check the link. And this week we have great interviews with Brett McIntyre and Kyle Buchanan, who will be facing off for the NLL Championship this Saturday in Buffalo. It's Game 3. All the marbles on the line, Colorado at Buffalo. We have Brett McIntyre and Kyle Buchanan to talk about that and about how they got to that position. Also, stick around for the rundown. We talk about a whole bunch of stuff from the world of lacrosse, the things that you need to know. Here on Lacrosse Link, your link to all things lacrosse.
Watched by Danby, a big pick from McGraw and another one. Back to McGraw. He's going to let it rip and scores. Liam McGraw from downtown.
Joining me on Lacrosse Link, 11-point scorer in the first two games of the National Lacrosse League Championship Series, Brett McIntyre. Welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me.
It's great to have you on, and it's such an exciting weekend for you guys, obviously. And the challenges you guys have faced are pretty remarkable. I'll be straight up honest and say, in our Inside Lacrosse picks for the weekend, I picked you guys, and then when I saw the news of Eli McLaughlin being out, I messaged the guy who does them and said, "Can you change my pick?" Like it just felt like too much for us outside. But you guys just didn't seem daunted. What was the approach that allowed you to be so successful?
Yeah, we're definitely no strangers to adversity. I mean, we've kind of been dealing with it all year. Guys in and out of the lineup, injuries here and there. COVID obviously is every team's been dealing with. I mean, when the San Diego series started and we lost Leeser, I mean, that was a big blow too to us. And we kind of really wanted to rally behind him because we know how much he wanted to be on the floor and how much he loves being out there. So we kind of want to play for him, win for him. And that got us through that series too. And then obviously Eli, he's, one of the biggest factors on our offense, and he's kind of the leader behind our offensive efforts. So losing him too was a big one. And once again, like we were like, all right, he's down, he can't play. He worked so hard to get to this point. We really want to play for him and win for him. So we were able to do that this past week or a couple of days ago.
Yeah.
We just we all love each other. We're a really close group, and I think we just want to play for each other. So.
One of the factors I've talked about with some of the guys there, I think with Pat Coyle, might have even been some of the guys before, is that there's a lot of you living in Denver and getting to spend a lot of time together and getting to go out and just throw the ball around and do things together outside of the regular practice game schedule that teams usually get. How big a difference do you think that has made when you've had to face adversity and all come together like this?
Oh, definitely a huge factor. I mean, living down here I think we have probably 10 guys, so like almost half our team, living down here, same apartment complex, we see each other every day on a daily basis on our lifts, recovery, whatever we do. We're always hanging out. So it really allowed us to get close to each other and really build those bonds that kind of helped us as a team, honestly, to really want to play for each other. And that's another factor in that case. So.
Yeah. Now, we talked about this before we went on air, that you were on the practice squad for the first 9 games or so of the season as a rookie. Not unusual, especially, we said, righty forward, tough spot to crack in this league. You had a lot of talent in front of you that was established or returning. And you get onto the active squad. You only got into 2 games, though, during the regular season, didn't score any points, had a pretty small role. And then you say Ryan Lee goes out, you're thrust into a regular role in the playoffs, and you start scoring, and now you've got 11 points in the last 2 games, in the 2 games of the championship. And to me, it's interesting because the points are one thing, but it always seems to go with getting more comfortable, and you look so much more comfortable over the last couple of games as you've really gotten integrated into the lineup. How different has it felt for you, and how much more do you feel like you can just do your thing now when you're out there?
Definitely. Yeah. I mean, those first couple of games, a lot of it's probably not wanting to step on other guys' toes, not quite knowing your role yet in the games because you haven't played, and trying to make those mistakes as possible rather than just playing, being yourself and, doing what you can do. And yeah, that confidence kind of gets built builds up. The more games you play, more time you get. So, I mean, that's a pretty natural thing to happen, I guess. But yeah, I got to that point now, so I'm feeling good. And
I guess the other thing is with, Ryan Lee goes down, they're like, okay, you're in. And then Eli McLaughlin goes down, and there must have been some talk like, hey, everybody, I mean, obviously Zed and Connor Robinson had been really stepping up along with Eli, I mean, still leading the playoffs and scoring, but there has to be more, and there has to be other guys bringing things to the table more than had been demanded of you before. How much was that explicitly spoken about, and how much did you guys all just know you just had to do it?
I don't think it was ever explicitly said, but everyone kind of knew in their heads, like, all right, like our top 2 leaders are out. We got to pick it up on our own end and as a group. And we were thankfully able to do that. Yeah.
One really fun thing from the draft last year that came out afterwards, Colorado puts out the video of their behind the scenes, Brad Self calling Asher Knowlting when they picked him, doing, different things in their preparation as they're having their discussions. Really cool behind the scenes stuff that's just so neat to see. And of course, one of the things, there's movement. They make the trade where, Ron John goes over to New York, and there's a bunch of moving pieces. It gets to pick 22, and Patrick Dodge is just gone, and they finally announced, okay, we got it. We've got Brett McIntyre, and they make the pick. And Steve Toll just does like a little celebration. Well, it's a very Steve Toll celebration. He was a scout with the team at the time. And I was curious what that was like for you to see, his excitement and just the whole thing. And if your friends and family kind of gave you the gears about Toller getting so excited.
Yeah, it's definitely a good feeling. I mean, it really makes you feel wanted, and it makes you feel good that they wanted to pick you in the draft. So, I mean, that really helps your confidence and really makes you comfortable with the team. And I mean, we have a great team here, great organization. So I'm definitely happy I got picked here. Absolutely.
And did anybody give you a hard time, or did people just think it was pretty fun that
No, I didn't get a hard time for that. No.
Okay. I can just imagine some of the guys you played with. It's the nature of a locker room, right? Guys like to rib guys about pretty much everything. So
yeah, that is fair.
Yeah. So you're heading into game 3. Same situation, I assume. And we haven't heard anything about Eli McLaughlin. I don't imagine you're in a position to say anything at this point about his status, but I would assume, Ryan Lee is obviously out. Eli McLaughlin, you have to prepare for not having him. How do you prepare to do it again in Buffalo in front of like 15,000 people going nuts?
I mean, it's tough going into that environment. They have lots of fans. I mean, they have a good fan base too, but really we're just focused on us, honestly, focus on what we can do, how we play, our effort, and less so on the factors we can't control. Really, it's just anything we can control, we want to execute, and really just focusing on us.
And what, in terms of you talked about how you're definitely more comfortable. You feel like you're in a spot where you're able to just kind of play your game. And does it feel like the whole unit, because part of the thing is you come in, everyone's got to get used to you, you've got to get used to everybody. Tyson Gibson comes in partway through the year. There's been some taking some time to gel, but does it feel like the unit is cohesive and ready for this obviously ultimate challenge?
Absolutely. I feel like we're playing well together. We got chemistry together, and I mean, against different teams, certain guys are going to do different things because maybe they match up against different players or whatnot like that. But yeah, I mean, I feel everyone's confident. Everyone's playing well with each other. We're all gelling. Our offense is just scoring goals, which is always a good thing. So yeah, we're confident and we're ready for the challenge.
Really appreciate you taking the time to come on. It's going to be very exciting. This game 3 for all the marbles in Buffalo. Good luck. And we'll see how everything rolls out.
Thank you very much. Thanks for having me.
Hi, this is Jaden with Al Anderson Source for Sports. Excited to tell you that we got all our new lacrosse product in for this upcoming season. Whether you're playing box or field, our lacrosse experts are going to make sure we get you into the right equipment to elevate your game. At Al Anderson Source for Sports, we know our stuff.
As we approach game 3, the decisive game of the NLL Cup final, I'm joined by Kyle Buchanan of one of the competitors, the Buffalo Bandits. Welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me, Stamper.
great to catch up, and such excitement. Obviously, it's a game 3. I know there's got to be some disappointment in losing game 2. You knew though that the Mammoth weren't going to go down easy. I'm sure it's not a shock that you're going back, but I'm wondering how much of a silver lining it is that game 3 is back in Bandit land.
Yeah, I mean, I think to your point, the Mammoth, we knew that they, they're in the finals for a reason, and they've clawed their way back in a lot of games throughout the year and even in playoffs. So we knew what we were into, and tough building to play in Colorado. And so a bit of a silver line that we get to come back to Buffalo, and what we're expecting is pretty much a sellout at KeyBank Arena. So we're really excited about that. Obviously not super happy we couldn't close it out in game 2, but again, can't be upset about the opportunity to do it in Buffalo.
Yeah. And it was almost 15,000 last time. I'm assuming it's going to be an even bigger crowd this time. How much energy does the crowd give you guys in critical moments of the game?
Oh, I mean, it's crazy. It's the best place to play, no doubt. I mean, even the anthem, they're chanting "Let's Go Bandits" before and after the anthem. Like, right then and there, the energy is behind you all game. So, we ride them like crazy. We need them in moments when we're, either stopping a run or going on a run ourselves. And it's an amazing fan base that cares so much and is so knowledgeable too, which I think, they really reward the small plays of the game, big stops, big takeaways, things like that maybe some other fan bases don't recognize. And, it's an amazing place to be at.
Some of the key loose balls, which obviously is one of your fortes. And, it's interesting, Teddy Jenner and Pat Gregoire calling game 2, kept talking about you being the smallest guy on the floor, which I guess is probably true. Fair enough. And it was complimentary. They're pointing out that you're, a fearless competitor despite your size, very effective. It's obviously not new for you being an underdog. You're a 6th-round draft pick out of Nepean before Nepean gained its reputation as a growing hotbed, which you're in no small part responsible for. You've obviously contributed greatly to that. Washington didn't really seem to have much interest in keeping you around after the first season, but now you've played 144 NLL games. You have 493 points, 813 loose balls. It seems like it's all working out okay. You must be pretty comfortable with where you're at in your season. Never satisfied, but pretty happy with how it's going.
Yeah, definitely. I think, this league is really funny. You got to take advantage of your opportunities. And, my rookie season, I played in a championship game, and the only championship I've been in. I played 9 games that year, and then all of a sudden dressed on championship day. I got the call. So, and then I got released for nothing a month later. So, I was fortunate to have an opportunity in Philadelphia, and I don't know what would have happened if I didn't go there and then move on to the New England franchise. And it kind of set the stage for my career, and I can't be more thankful for that.
And, you're in San Diego for a bit. Now you're in Buffalo, your first season with the team that you're able to play. And I'm curious how clearly your role was defined when you joined this Bandits offense that already had so much firepower in place, and how long it took you to feel like you'd assimilated into your role and into the group.
Yeah, I mean, I think my role has kind of been similar everywhere I've gone. I think that's a big part of playing offense in this league, is understanding where you fit in a team, and, in the dressing room and on the floor, off the floor, all that kind of stuff. So as a veteran guy, and kind of my role hasn't shifted too much, team to team, maybe carry the ball a little bit more here and there. But, I knew what I was going into, playing with Dane and Josh and some dynamic players like Fieldsy, DeHoka, and Chase. And my job is just to cause some confusion and some chaos and pick up some loose balls to get some resets for those guys. And it didn't take me too long, and JT and I didn't have to chat too much to understand that that's where I was going to be at. And, I love learning more from JT and those guys on the floor as well.
What is the key? I don't know, maybe you can't tell us, maybe you have to keep it secret, but I'm curious what the secret or the key is to your success on the ball team, the face-off team, because it does seem I find there are guys, and you're one of them, where you start watching and you think, wow, he's lucky the ball keeps going where he is, or the ball keeps popping out to him or whatever. And then you watch enough and you realize, no, it's the same guys. It's the guys who have that knack. What is it that gets you to those loose balls?
Yeah, well, I think you kind of alluded to it before. Like, being small is, it's not new to me, right? It's my whole life. I've had to kind of find ways to be successful and to get to areas and get to balls, or get in front of the net in different ways. So I think what I've gained through that is a lot of anticipation and understanding, where the game's going to go. I use the analogy that Wayne Gretzky used to draw on the paper, right? When he was a small guy, where the puck was going. And that's something that I tried to watch when I was just, growing up and learning the game, is, where the tendencies, where rebounds go, where things happen off the faceoff, and try and read clamps and face off guys and watch some film. So, there's some starting to be done there, but I think it's just anticipating and trying to use my quick first step to get to the balls.
As you start talking about it, the Gretzky thing, and it was exactly what I was thinking too, about going where the puck's heading, not where it is. And that's so critical. And it doesn't seem like it should be that surprising or that unusual, but it does take a definite preparation, like you said. Now, when you think of Buffalo and the National Lacrosse League, you think success. I think John Tavares is the all-time leader in so many categories. There was the undefeated team, the 4 championships, but it has been a while since 2008, since Buffalo last won an NLL title. And JT has talked pretty openly about Buffalo's overall record in championships at 4-7 not being good enough. I'm curious what it would feel like, what you feel like it would mean to Banditland to get the win Sunday, to finally bring the championship back where I know all the people that are in the stands feel like it belongs.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's a few different things there. I think having 2 really close chances for a lot of guys in that room, 2019 and then the one against Saskatchewan, that was a heartbreaker as well. They've been so close. But not only that, I think having a couple years off of the season, the fans have come back, at a crazy pace and at a crazy level that I think it would mean more now than ever. It just would kind of, put back the fact that this is one of the best teams and one of the best places and organizations NLL has ever had. And I think, the fans are owed it more than anybody as well. And I can't imagine what Saturday would be like if we were to take it home.
And, it's funny, you move around, a lot of players move around during a career, and you've come in, it's your first season in Buffalo, but you're obviously already invested. You've obviously bought in, you know the years, you know what's happened with this franchise, with the history, and you get the sense of it. It feels like you're very much a Bandit at this point.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, my best friend, Kevin Brownell, has been on the team since the start of his career, right? So I've never been too far from it. We live 5 minutes from each other and spend a lot of time together. So, again, and lacrosse is a small world. We all know that. So we have some guys on either side of the ball every time you play that you have some relationships with. So everyone knows about the Bandits and kind of their history and having JT as the GOAT as our coach. And it's not hard to learn about them quickly. And it's been a great place to be.
And you and Kevin are living close to each other, pretty close to the Key Bank, aren't you? Where are you living now?
Yeah, I'm in Waterdown, so just like north of Burlington, between Burlington and Hamilton. And I'm about an hour and 20 to the arena, probably.
Not bad, not bad. Who'd you drive in with? Kevin, obviously, I'm guessing.
Yeah, it's funny because Brownie and Nick Weiss, they were roomies pretty much from day one. Their whole career, they've been there as well. So I didn't want to get into that too much in that relationship. So they often go together. We've driven together a few times, but I got the young family at home too, so I'm kind of on a little bit different schedule than those boys. So sometimes I go solo, and that's all right.
Really appreciate you taking the time to hop on the show. It's great to catch up. Look forward to seeing you in the summer as we go. And maybe I'm seriously considering getting down to Buffalo to see Game 3. I was at the game in Buffalo for the last championship that was played in 2019, and it's electric. And the crowd has been so much more intense this time around. Like you said, coming back, it feels like it's just ramped up.
Yeah, it's a whole nother level. I think it'll be a good one, and I think you should be there.
Thanks so much. Look forward to it.
Thanks, Denver.
All right. Hope you enjoyed those interviews with Brett McIntyre and Kyle Buchanan. And we are building up to a very exciting weekend, but we have the rundown with some news from around the world of lacrosse that you need to know. And the big happening this past week MSL is playing. Major Series Lacrosse. Hadn't been anything really happening for a long time. And then all of a sudden, everything happened kind of at once. Representatives of Major Series Lacrosse, of the Ontario Lacrosse Association, of Owen Sound Lacrosse Club, the team that had moved from Brampton to Owen Sound, and the group that were trying to get the Excelsiors back to Brampton, all got together on Tuesday, June 7th. And there was guarded optimism from some quarters. After that meeting, there was a media ban. There was nobody was really talking about exactly what was happening, which can be good. Although nobody was talking before, and that wasn't good. So what it looks like is happening. A 5-team league, as we kind of expected, with Cobourg, Peterborough, Brooklyn, Oakville, and Six Nations going east to west. And then Owen Sound and Brampton have been kind of sent off to figure things out among themselves. And they've been communicating, which was not the case before. It seems like that was a big part of the problem, lack of communication. But last Sunday, there were players on the floor at the Cobourg Community Center. There were fans in the stands, and the referees came. There was some concern. Would the refs be there? They didn't show up for the bread and cheese game. Well, the refs were there and ready to roll. The game got going. Peterborough scored 3 goals in the first few minutes, but Cobourg battled back, took leads of 6-4 and 7-6. And then the Lakers struck 9 straight goals to take a huge lead. Cobourg did a rebound and battle back. They got to the last 4 goals of the game, but still, it was a 15-11 win in the books for the Lakers. Quite a few players not available for both sides. Some guys with some lingering issues they're just dealing with to make sure they're ready to go for the summer. Or the fact that it was put together in 2 days, the game, when they found out on Friday that they'd be able to play. So not everyone can make it for the Sunday. But there were some very good players there. Mike Poulin and Kevin Orleman were the goaltenders. Some great players. I mean, Sean Evans had a handful of assists for Peterborough. Cam Milligan led the way for Cobourg, carrying over his success from his Panther City season, where he really lit things up and got rolling there. So, goal of the game, Caleb Creaser, a 4th-round Lakers pick out of Brampton, Junior A, scored. He was a water bug, running fast, just really engaged all night, and he went down on a break with a player trailing, cuts to the left, following the curve of the crease, and draws Orleman over, reaches back with one hand to drop the ball in. It was a savvy play. It looked like a veteran play, not that of a rookie 4th-round draft pick. What a play by Caleb Creaser. The rest of the schedule is being worked out, some T's being crossed, I's being dotted as we record this, but the season is underway. Games should start to be broadcast soon, so go to majorseriesLacrosse.ca, follow MSL on Twitter, Instagram, so you can keep up with what is going on. By the time this comes out, this episode, there's going to be a lot more information, I would think, and there'll be more and more coming, and more games as we move forward. Meanwhile, on the West Coast, the WLA has managed to have their house in order, start the season on time with all of their teams, and proceed without too much drama. Now, there's a little drama. Apparently, in the June 1st game between Langley and Coquitlam, both teams used ineligible players. It was a double forfeit, but honestly, compared to the kerfuffle in Ontario, what's a little double forfeit between friends? More importantly, the league is rolling. There's some competitive lacrosse going on. How competitive? Well, the Maple Ridge Burrards are 1-2. They're sitting in 6th place in the 7-team league. And they've scored 5 more goals than they've allowed. They suffered a pair of 1-goal losses to start their season. So they were 0-2 and only 2 goals to the negative in the differential. Then a big 7-goal win over the Burnaby Big Lakers. And there you have it. There are a lot of good players in the league, but Jesse King is absolutely standing head and shoulders above everybody right now. He's played 4 games. He has 12 goals and 20 assists for 32 points. If you didn't want to do the math, that's a cool 8.0 points per game. Not a big surprise because he is returned to full health and had a breakout season in the National Lacrosse League. So we expected Jesse King to do very well, but 8 points a game. That is crazy. Women's lacrosse is burgeoning. The women's fields are coming up soon. They kick off with a U.S.-Canada game, the Clash of the Titans, on June 29th. The tournament runs through July 8th. During that tournament, there'll also be a World Cup Futures girls box lacrosse tournament. That's July 6th and 7th, also in Baltimore, where that tournament is taking place. The Women's Worlds at Towson. I've talked before about the She-Box tournament that happened in Prague this spring, for which I was fortunate to get to call some games. It was great, and you can hear some conversations that I had with a handful of those players on a recent episode of Lax Beat, my podcast, which you can find pretty much wherever you get your podcasts. I strongly encourage you. The passion and the enthusiasm these women have for the game is absolutely contagious. And now, several of those women are part of the ambassador program that World Lacrosse, and more specifically Michelle Boyer, are getting going. There's big momentum building towards the 2024 Women's World Box Championship. It's the first time that we're having a Women's Box Worlds. Very, very cool. Other things happening. Women's Major Series Lacrosse is underway in Ontario. The new East Coast Junior Women's League appears to be thriving. The Central Alberta Lacrosse League has started its first ever girls regional team. They'll be playing tournaments this summer. The game of lacrosse is growing. It's growing fast. The women's side of the game may be the fastest growing part of all now and into the future. Right now, this week, all eyes, though, are focused on the NLL Championship Game 3. That is where the real action is happening, as may have come up in the episode, this Saturday, June 18th, 7:30 p.m. in Buffalo. The playoffs have been amazing this year. Great game after great game. We expect nothing less for the finale in what will surely be another crowd of 15,000 or so at the KeyBank Center. It's so interesting that there were 29 goals scored in Game 1, then only 19 in Game 2. What'll happen in Game 3? It's anybody's guess. That's why they play the games, and it should be a great one this Saturday. Thanks for being with us every Thursday here on Lacrosse Link, or whenever you get to the show. It's available widely. I'm your host, Steven Stamp. Please do subscribe on YouTube. Set your timer to watch it live every Thursday night on Lax Sports Network, or check it out on Facebook, where we are posting all the episodes. We'll be back next week with more Lacrosse Link, your link to all things lacrosse.